David Cantine was born in 1939 just outside of Detroit. He immigrated to Edmonton, Alberta in 1965, started teaching at the University of Alberta in 1966, and spent his whole career teaching there, and as well as making art. For the last 4 decades, Cantine has done a series of discs, which were loosely based on a still life of apples, a photograph of apples and their shadows. It was from that image that he decided to investigate making a painting that's completely constructed with color. The idea was to paint on the back of plexiglass, and by doing so, when you saw the imagery on the front and you would look through the plexiglass, you'd see no hand of the artist. So what was involved in that, it was the idea of taking away the normal constructs that we see when we make a painting, and that basically line and form and the artist's gesture. When you were looking through a piece of plexi, there was visibly no detection of brush stroke. In these particular pieces, like I said, they were composed of 4 discs, one sitting, slightly smaller disc, sitting below slightly larger disc. And when he was making these particular discs, and he would have it a complete flat color, and the whole process was involved in juxtaposing many different permutations, orchestrations of these colors. In total, there would be about 7, 4 for the discs, 2 for the shadow space, and then of course the background of the particular painting. David told me in a recent conversation that it's come to a point that he's not able to make the same decisions that he was in the past as far as the color juxtaposition. So he's gone back to painting in a more painterly fashion, which is somewhat of a full circle because he comes from a generation that was the vanguard at the time, abstract expressionism. He would have been totally indoctrinated in that whole ideology of painting. Another thing that he said that was very interesting is that color has a way of finding its own space. It just does that. And so the challenge was orchestrating these compositions that each color would find its own place, but in harmony with each other. And he's not doing the traditional ideas of color like, a hot color advances and a cool color recedes. But those ideas are things that are usually achieved by overlapping and those types. And he didn't want to have anything to do. Everything is just juxtaposed. There's no overlapping at all in the compositions.